Just so you know, we are live now.
Yeah.
Haley hasn't deposited her check either. So I pulled it from our account on our end. So because it's not showing up in the bank account. But I mean, it's not a big deal.
When was the trip from?
It's from Carnival. So I mean, I cut it on March 11th.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Oh, Jesse, have some wings. It's from Fire on the Mountain. We should open.
No one wants to. I'll get down really after the meeting.
And it's funny because how it's simple is shorter than how it's small. Like more of the part.
You know what I have to do, Renee, on the bottom? That's so good. I was so impressed by that one.
The kids went back there.
Are you guys excited about the real movie?
It looks
Hi.
nice.
It looks really cute. Judy wants to see it. Yeah, I want to. It was pretty cute.
So how was it?
Oh, I wanted to go.
It's like, I saw the first trailer of Michelle.
Well, the best thing was because I was parked picking them all up, and everybody came out with like Minecraft stuff.
Already?
My favorite part of the movie is, you know, in the preview, part, that part, literally every kid in the theater was like, Steve, and then you hear them all go, yeah! I bet Jack Black.
So that was very good. Even if it was like pictures of the items that were, standing.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
I really like the layout of it. More streamlined.
For the raffle?
Yeah.
Or just everything in general?
All of the baskets that were here just seem much more streamlined and straight down the line. Yours kind of been like a windy all over the place.
Yeah, then like 2 rows. It's like
Chaotic. Yeah. Okay. I think we did really good as far as like the auction online. I think it drove prices up. So I think kind of what you said, Jesse, I think if we can continue this like next year and keep going, I think parents will just get used to it being online. And it was so much easier doing it online than putting it in a classroom this time. It just, to have a classroom and bring in everything. And I mean, it was just nice to just kind of have it off site and then just have the parents pick up anytime that next coming week was just amazing. It helped us out a lot.
I think having the visibility, we weren't sure
Right.
where to really put it during Carnival so that it was, right front and center. I did have stuff coming in with this raffle and the QR code, and there were some other ones around the building, but I do, the first time using it, it was like, okay. And I had lots of items come in, like the day of Carnival. So it's just taking that into account. But if you have any suggestions on where you think might be a good spot for next year, that would be great.
It was our first carnival, and I thought it was really fun. The setup was great, and it was good to go into different rooms and different experiences. And the only thing I noticed about the Holiday Museum, it's almost like they were wet. So they put out, it smelled very moldy
Yeah.
throughout the whole. Anyone else notice that?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what happened there.
Yeah. So when Jill Johnson, the PE teacher, set up one of them, she noticed that there were clothes inside of one of them, and it was just super wet and yucky. So I did put my notes in there for the next year's board that it like needs to be bleached and cleaned. We actually had one of the people that was on the carnival committee that they're house inspectors, and they were not happy about that. And basically just said mold can multiply and like that's just a no-no. So I did put that in the
Do we
notes.
own those?
We do not, and they were
Okay.
donated.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. So next year we'll make precautions for that not to happen inside, guys.
I do know in the previous year, they also smelled, well, it was more like a plasticky rubber smell, which is like being contained in the gym.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't even think about this, but I think it was Jesse that said that we could do it outside if the weather was nice, which I think would be amazing to just have the bouncy houses be out there. And then it would kind of free up the gym for auctions stuff, or I mean, whatever we wanted to do, really. So that was a great idea. I think that'd be cool to do that next year. Yeah, so there's that option too. Anybody else?
Yeah, I really like the online auction, and so whoever did all the different stuff to find all the stuff, I know that there's a lot of people compiling everything, so good job on getting everything together, having all the different stuff. One thing, at least for me personally, on some of the stuff that was bucketed, it'd be nice if some of it was split because there might have been like 4 things. It's like, okay, well, I really want one, maybe 2 of them, don't necessarily want the other 2, and so do I want to bid on it or not bid on it? So for me, at least, having those split, some of the gift card stuff, like you could go to the zoo and OMSI and something else. If those were potentially split, which would also maybe create more work because you have to set up all of those individually, but to have the cost would go down potentially on those. And so instead of being a $300 value, it's a $100 value, or whatever it is. You might be able to get some more people in there. And then on those 2, having maybe some that are very small increments to get people to go back and forth a lot. So something that's not a high value ticket item, having a $1 increment or a 50-cent increment to get a whole bunch of people in there and like bidding against each other. Could be kind of fun too.
Yeah. So thank you for that feedback because I had Googled it, and Google had said typically you want 30 to 50% of like the face value to like start out, and some of that was really hard because like we had that recliner, and obviously 30% is like way too much, and so some of the stuff we had to kind of like bring down. But I also saw in their notes from last year that if you, I can't remember how she said it, but it was like if you're at like 5 bids and you haven't reached a certain percentage, that your bidding is too low. So I was also, I mean, this was a conversation between Gracie and I, and we were just trying to figure out what was the right, but I can agree with that because we did have a lot of high priced items or things were packaged together, making it more money. So that, yes, that's something that we could do next year. I'm sorry. We were just like going blind into Google.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was the packages were great. It was just, for me personally, there was stuff that, okay, I want this one thing in the package or 2 of them.
Right.
So.
Okay. Good feedback. Thank you.
Did you feel that way as well for the raffle baskets? Because most of the raffle baskets were very large.
Raffle baskets in here?
That were in here?
Yeah, I thought those were great.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, because that too is, I think it was like $1 for a raffle. And then like I let my kids, like, oh, which one do you want to put your raffle tickets in? So that's fun for them to be able to actually put the raffle tickets in.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
To add on to that, just having that broken up, I think would get more families in and bidding on things families that maybe couldn't bid on a higher price item. If you broke those up, we maybe get more families in bidding on them too.
Yep, I can agree with that. I think this year for our first year we did pretty good, but obviously we can do better.
learning curve too.
Oh,
The first year with an online auction and learning how to do all that stuff. So
cool. Well, thank you guys for that. Next up, we're going to have Mr. Rasmussen.
A little bit of a season of thank you. So thank you to the PTO. We have a number of things to thank you guys for. We have the new soccer goals that are out on this playground. They are used every single recess before school, each recess during the day, but shower time.
I'm pretty sure you said that last
I
week.
probably went on at the same time. Turns out Monday night shower. We have oftentimes it's for the younger kids, it's a group of kids on one goal and a different group of kids on another goal. For the older kids, we have about 16 or so kids who are playing back and forth, going back and forth the entire recess. Sometimes it's hard to get them off the field. So thank you, huge celebration, and thank you to all of you. Last week we did Artists in Residence. If you haven't had a chance to see them, I'm happy after this meeting to take you back and show you. All 3 murals are done. One is a beautiful mountain scene that we're probably going to put on the wall of the wood up here. It's 32 feet long, 4 plywood panels, and we're going to have it framed and then hung on the wall. Another one is 4 panels, but instead of it being just one long one, it's 2 vertical and then 2 horizontal, and it's a jaguar and a sloth and then a jungle, and it's going to go where those quilts are above the doorway. And then the final one is marigolds and butterflies, mariposas, and they're going to go in the hallway on the way down to the cafeteria. The reason we're not putting one in the cafeteria is because when we made it 4 panels, it actually was too long for the space that we had talked about. And so the butterfly one doesn't even fit. We're going to have that one split between 2 things. So we'll have the marigolds will be on one side, and then all the butterflies will be on the other side and kind of face each other, which is going to be really neat. So huge thank you to the PTO for making that happen.
Jesse, will those be up by the art walk?
There you will, yes.
Oh,
Yep,
perfect.
yep. The goal is, and the carpenter was actually hoping to take the art with him today, and we said, don't take it because we don't have anything to wrap it in. We don't want anything to happen. So we're getting some donation from teachers and stuff of blankets and moving blankets and that kind of thing to wrap it. And he's going to take it right now. He has a little lull, and so he's going to be able to do it in the next 2 weeks. So we'll get hung up before.
Awesome,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you.
the goal. Then MCT is happening right now. You can hear them yelling, chop off or off with their heads. They are doing Alice in Wonderland. So that was only possible because of the donations that you guys are doing. And that opportunity is amazing for the kids. Something that is not something that they would get to do in their everyday kind of stuff in the classrooms. And then the final one is the Jewel Jumble. So in the first 3 Wednesdays of May, we're going to do Jewel Jumble. This is something that we did years and years and years ago. The idea is trying to have electives for the kids to do interesting things that they don't usually get to do and things that the teachers are passionate about, so bringing in their own hobbies and their own interests into the classrooms. And the way it'll work is students are going to get to pick 4 or so choices of things that they're interested in, and then we'll divvy it up and assign them to the different rooms. Some of the activities are only going to be for the older kids. Some of them are going to be for only the younger kids, and others will be for any age. And then they'll spread out during those Wednesday times for about an hour and do 3 different elective activities. So that might, they'll do the same activity 3 different times. So for some of them, that will be that it builds, and each time is a little bit building on the previous. Other times it'll be like 3 a little bit.
Jesse, you gotta win. It's like, this is really funny. Yeah, they're still yelling at you.
Okay, they're gonna have that line down.
Yeah.
Get to the production.
Oh, God.
So some of them will build on each other. The other ones will just be independent, and it'll be kind of a fun activity, and then a little bit of a slightly different angle of that same activity and then the same activity. We even have some community members coming in. We have a Taekwondo instructor who's going to be coming in and running a class. If anybody wants to volunteer, there's still time. If you have a passion and you have a background check, then you can join us. The goal is to have enough staff members doing it that we can divide out the kids into smaller groups. And so we have all of our classroom teachers, all of our support staff, all of our EAs are going to be running different stations. Myself, Eric, some of the office staff. are going to be doing things so that we spread the kids out and have smaller groups that can be fine. And you guys are donating towards that too. So thank you. Those are 4 different things that wouldn't be possible without you guys. A couple of quick updates for you guys. We have outdoor school for 5th grade. Do we have any 5th grade families in here? 5th grade families, okay. Yeah, 2. So 5th grade is going to be going to outdoor school. That's a Wednesday. They leave during the day, and then they spend the night Wednesday night. All day Thursday they're at camp, and then Thursday night, and then they come back mid-morning, totally exhausted on Friday, and go home and sleep for
And they smell
48
really
hours.
bad.
The shower night, that Friday night. So outdoor school is going to be April 23rd through 25th, so it's coming up real soon. Basically, we'll have conferences next week, and then the week after that, they'll have school on Monday and Tuesday, and then they'll head out for outdoor school Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that's going to be exciting. We have a new thing that Eric Brocker, the vice principal, has been organizing kind of behind the scenes that we're about to announce. So you guys are the first to hear about it. And we're going to have a bike night. That's something that Eric has done at previous schools that he's worked at. So he's been working on organizing it. It's going to be on May 1st coming up. And bike night's going to be, he's working with Commute Options. He's working with REI. He's working with the BMX organization here in Central Oregon. He's working with a whole bunch of different local organizations. Food carts will be there, and it's going to be a night where our bus lane is just going to be different obstacles, and our playground on that side will be obstacle courses, quarter pipes, all sorts of different fun activities. The center, I think, will be there to fit helmets for kids, trying to just promote a family night. To have you guys all come, join, have fun, get your bike tuned up by people from REI, ride around as a community and with friends, ride on the field, try out different things, and have lots of fun. So we're excited for that. That should be really fun.
What are the hours?
I will have to ask Eric. But he's been organizing. I think it'll be in the evening, so I'm guessing 5 or so, and so maybe 7 or so. I'm not positive. We also have kindergarten orientation, so anybody who has little ones who are just going to be joining the next year, or friends and neighbors who have little ones joining us, that's going to be May 20th. We'll be advertising that as well. And that's just a chance for people to come in, see the building, get questions answered, meet some of the teachers, see the space, play on the playground, and kind of get used to the idea of being in school. And then the art fair is going to be May 29th. We will have our murals up by then, May 29th, and we're excited. We're going to have, obviously, we have amazing artwork always, but all of the surfaces get covered with all the artwork. It's pretty incredible to see all the things that these kids are doing. And then we're just on there. I'll say this at the next meeting as well, but the end of school is around the corner. June 11th is going to be a full day Wednesday. It's the very last Wednesday, and it won't be early release. So that'll be a full day, and then May 12th is the last day of school. We didn't have any snow days. We had the one delay, and so that means that we are ending on the 12th. If you remember last year, we had pushed it back a couple days because of the snow days. But June 12th will be our last day of school. That is. You mean a partial day? Yes, it's an early release. You mean an early?
Yeah, that's what.
Yes, it'll be an early release day, so 12:45 on that Thursday. So instead of Wednesday, it'll be that Thursday.
Can I go back to Jumble?
Yes.
Do you know of what teachers might be doing? I haven't heard
Yeah.
what they want.
I'll probably pull it up. I'll pull it up and I can share a little bit later with some more details. But we have some teachers who are doing art in their classrooms. One is doing choir.
That's fun.
Let's do something else.
I'm doing science.
I already
Yeah.
heard that you're doing the recorders tomorrow, and so that's probably enough for you.
I'm taking advantage of the chance
To do something different. Yeah. I'll be doing soccer. We have another person who's doing basketball camps. We have people who oftentimes work. The common one is technology, so that might be stop motion, or we have these little devices that we can rent for downtown that are basically like robots, and they program the robot to move around. They have to like go through an obstacle course, and so it's really teaching them basic programming skills like sequencing and that kind of thing. So that's a common one that we use. Breakout boxes is another one, so they have to do a breakout box each week to try and, are you familiar with breakout boxes? Breakout rooms. It's like it has puzzles, and as you go, you have to figure out what these clues add up to be able to figure out the combination for a lock. Or sometimes it's a directional lock, so it'll be like a map, a picture of a map, and they have to figure out, okay, so we have to go on this lock that goes up, over, down, back, and then it opens the lock, and they have to get 5 or 6 locks unlocked before they can get into the box to find the prize. So it's a teamwork thing, it's a timed thing, so it's like you have half an hour to get through this, and then there's another box, they have half an hour to get through that. Super fun, and then the teacher's there to give clues and things like that. I off the top of my head, those are the ones I can think of.
That's perfect.
Yeah, but we have a document, a master document, it's like 92 different ideas, and then the 47 that people have chosen.
Are we as parents able to, like, the last date, like for choir or robot, I mean, whatever, be able to come in and like see the kids be able to do some of that stuff? I mean, as a parent, like, why? I'm like, I was in choir, like, I want to, even though it might sound horrible, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll ask the committee whether we have a plan for that.
I think a lot of parents would have fun with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Have to have you come and see that.
That's all I have.
Any other questions?
Okay, thanks, Jesse. Next, we have the teacher rep. Mrs. Johnson is not here, so it will go to Leslie.
You know, it's funny because the kids have the time. Jill could have been named anything else for her last name, not something that's so close to Johnson, because I can call Johnson all the time. So I see that, it's like, oh, that must be me. Jill was not, she was sick today, so I'm filling in for her, and she just asked me to mention that about the recycling that's still going on for the plastic bags. And with when we bring in a certain poundage of those plastic bags, the company will provide, Trent Stecking will provide us with a bench for our garden area. So if you wonder where that is, which is really cool. Also, she wanted me to remind us that on Conference Day, they're going to have an equipment grab, which is so if you have old sports equipment, or we can get that word out to people too, old equipment or equipment that's too small for your kids, to just have like a free exchange in the gym of sharing and swapping that equipment, as well as with some of our lost and found items. And I think that was all she asked me to report.
Will the lost and found items be the stuff that was just recently there too, or will
No.
it just be from stuff from last
That'll
time?
be, really old stuff that is there to just take. We'll have this area will be equipped with lost and found stuff, or maybe it'll be a lot, I'm not sure which. But we'll have current lost and found items that people can go through and try and find their.
Thank you. Next, we have playgrounds, and that will be Renee.
Before I do that, I wanted to add one more thing to MCT. We are also going to be selling flowers that are donated by 3 different stores. So please buy flowers from us because that helps fund next year.
Can I ask a question about something real quick? Sorry. Do we have the ability to pick on the schedule when each year, or is it just like a regional?
There's some flexibility. They have when they're in our region, but there is a little bit of flexibility.
March is a sweet spot between winter and transport, so if there's a kind of have more time.
Yeah.
This is like a big week for soccer and softball that is a party for the kids. So it would be great if they
Yeah. So March would be a.
yeah.
Yeah. So we can certainly- I'll pass it along to Elizabeth.
I think that when we travel from zero, so that people can travel, that later they make it later. That we're about snow travel, I'm thinking that one is zero. So I know that, I think that is a consideration that they put in place because, we get more snow. But I'm checking.
Yeah, we could certainly have.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that. Back to playground. Mike and I and Jesse met with the Chief Operations Officer at the district today and had a discussion about if there's any possibility to add some components that the committee thinks is important that are not on the I think the meeting went really well, and he's gonna take that and get back to us in a couple of weeks. And if not, I'll follow up with him in a couple of weeks. We can't really apply for grants or go to big companies until we can say this is exactly what we're going to go for. And so we're taking the time to just have that conversation with the district to see what we can get. And I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry. Thank you for filling out the survey. For everyone who did. And then the district is asking all schools to pause big fundraising projects starting in August. And we asked when we could resume, let's say, we get our design finalized by the end of this month, and we could fundraise for a little while until August. And then they said sometime in 2026 is what I know so far. So just so you all know, there's no plans to drop the project regardless of where we go with the district. We'll still be keeping on them to find out when we can resume, and so hopefully that will keep everyone sort of working towards resuming. They're reviewing their policies on fundraising, and that has to go through the school board and take some time. So, should be all good things.
Alyssa, one of the questions that we just had, are we able for NCT, are we able to move that? One of the questions was, are we able to move it at a different time later on, just because right now, like softball and is it soccer? Earlier, sorry.
Yeah, maybe March.
So the problem with, we tried a couple of different things. When we first started, we had it in February. And we ran into basketball. So there's really limited gym space in this town, and putting Ben Parks and Rec out for a week with several teams was not ideal by any means. And so there's no perfect time. There's sports and other activities around, and we understand that. And through trial and error, this seems to be the best. Because we're also kicking kids out when we use our gym too, and in the winter months, they have nowhere to go. And then teams couldn't use our gym, and so this seems to be the best. Kids can use outside if it's warm enough. They have access to our cafeteria, which we have one now. And then, and this one, it allowed itself to probably be the best fit. So we understand that sports, baseball, softball, all the things, and it's going to be like that every season.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get that in a little bit. But we had 113 students today. That's huge.
Wow.
Yeah, the first year we did it, we had about, well, they can cast 55 to 60. And the first year we did it, we had about low 70s. And I think last year was maybe high 80s, low 90s. We had 113 today. So huge thank you to PTO for sponsoring this. Obviously, theater is something so wonderful that we can offer. We have a lot of schools coming and asking me how we're doing this, and it's just all the support that we have from PTO that we can, and admin who are all to come in. So thank you, huge thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Look, I should shut that door. Please don't.
Okay, sorry, going back to Renee, I didn't want to keep Alyssa
I think that
waiting.
was pretty much it. Any questions, or Mike, did I miss anything? Yes.
I think you hit the major point. I think the positive takeaway was that Paul, the COO, had heard us and our concerns around what the current standard is, and his words were he feels that there is a middle ground somewhere. So
Good.
I took that as a positive outcome to say it's open for consideration. I think everyone's feedback in that survey is really powerful, because anytime you bring to those conversations, it's not what we're looking for, but it's the people, the community, and the children that you serve sends a really powerful message, right? So again, that's the biggest positive takeaway, is that it feels like we're going to get somewhere, and just really figuring out where that is.
You had a question?
Oh, yeah, I just was at a grant writing workshop for Oregon State Parks. They had a whole section of grants that was allocated towards playgrounds and like updating playing equipment. It had some stipulations that were like close, but not exact for what we would want, but it said it had to be open to the public at all times. And it's like, well, there's a public school, so maybe. I was just curious, has the school district ever received grant money from state parks for upgrading equipment like that before? Or have you ever heard of any grants come through?
Not specifically for state parks or like updating city parks or anything. One of the things that we run into with things like that is that, yes, the playground is open and the goal is to keep it open, but that hasn't always been the case, and that may not always be the case. In fact, you might see that our gates are going to be closed for a little while because we've had an increase in dog poop on the playground, kind of a pretty major increase in dog poop. And so it's always the worst when a poor kid slips in it or slides in it, and then we're cleaning them up and they're gross and they're crying, and it's not a pretty picture. So closing them down for a little bit and then opening back up again once. I'm trying to say, hey, we don't mind if you use it as long as you're cleaning up after yourselves. But it's not always open, and so I don't know if that would qualify. But.
Right. Yeah, I think that they just wanted to make sure it's whatever they invest in is on public land, and so it couldn't be closed off indefinitely. And then were you saying that it's not until next year that we want to even try to apply for?
We could apply, as soon as we get the design finalized, we can apply. We can start. And we have a list already, and I'm gonna add that one to the list, so thank you for mentioning it. But we will have to stop, we'll have to pause in August. And so let's say I apply for a grant in June, then I'll have to write in there, this is the trajectory. This is, we're fundraising right now, we have this pause because they're working on a policy. We'll resume in 2026 when the policy's finished, and just be, have it like a plan laid out for that.
Oh, okay. There's kind of like two hurdles at play. Like one, you don't want to necessarily go to someone and say, here's what we're working on. Would you like should be funds to it, and then all of a sudden change what that design looks like. You want to make sure that we're fully transparent with what you see is what you're getting or what you're putting towards, right? And so part of that, we're still waiting on the district to come back and say, here's the middle ground. Like, we see what you want to do. Here's what we want to do. So what does that look like? Once we have that design finalized, we can then confidently go and say, hey, what you're contributing towards is this, right? And so we have to finalize that. And the other part is the school is redoing their policy around like large capital expenditures. Like they said, I think their largest capital expenditure right now for like fundraising is like 100,000. We raised like 400,000. And so they just never ran into a situation where they are potentially going to be receiving such large funds, but they want to make sure they have a policy and know what they should be doing with it, what the process is. And what the process is.
And Paul shared that they're working on it. Kinsey Martin is one of the people who's helping write that and create that policy, and her goal is to have it ready kind of by fall. But then it needs to go through the process of being reviewed and being looked at by various people and then looked at by the board. And so he said 2026. That could be January 2026, so that could be later. He didn't specify, and I don't think he probably knows because it can be kind of a longer process. But the goal would be that in the fall they have kind of a draft ready, and then they go through revisions and that kind of thing, and have a chance for people to have public comments.
But they know that we're, invested and we're waiting in a sense, and just keeping connection to that process and keep you all updated. Maybe you'll want to go to the school board meeting and give some input on the policy when it's ready for review and stuff like that. So.
Is there a reason why we have to stop asking for donations for money? Because I guess my thought process is let's continue to get donations, and you just let the people know, like, this, like, we want A, B, or C playground. We don't know yet. This is why. But if you want to donate, you can do so. Like, why do we have to stop? I guess I'm confused as to why we have to stop getting donations.
Well, as far as I know, that's just what the district asked of us and every other school.
Is that right?
So we're one of 5 major projects. Ours is around 400,000, but some of the other ones are even bigger. And so as they're trying to figure out the policy, they're asking everybody to pause on any fundraising so that people aren't, racking up all this fund money, and then the policy is like, oh, this is the way that it's supposed to work, and now someone is $200,000 into fundraising, and they have to go back and say, sorry, this is how it's going to work. So they're saying no, but they can go up through, is it August? So continue to fundraise through August, because there are some projects that may be further along than ours. They can fundraise up through August, but then pause and wait for that policy to be finalized before continuing.
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
When you say fundraising, I just want to clarify that you're talking specifically about saying funds are going for the playground versus to student, teachers, and staff.
Yes, no.
Okay, because that
PTOs
was
can
like.
still- Yeah, PTO, these are, what do they call it? Capital, major
Okay.
capital campaigns, I think it's a term. So it's like, there's a school, I think, that's trying to raise funds to build something for part of their baseball program. So like major fundraising, ours is for, a large play structure that's worth, a ton of money. So yeah, no, fundraising, it's just those major ones that we have to pause on. Yeah.
And I know what school you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Nope, that was the exact same question that I had. I was like, October is our mini mutter. We're not, we're not included in that, right? Okay.
It's big ones that work a whole bunch.
So within that too, depending on who's on the board next year, and say for some reason they decide that portions of the fundraisers that we do for the school are allocated towards playground, is that not going to be possible?
Are you talking about like we have a QR code that is going towards the playground?
So when we do mini mutter,
Yeah.
and whoever's on the board next year and the general membership votes, yes, we're going to take 10% out of the funds we gather from that event. Is that going to be allowable, or is that not?
That would not be allowable. I
Okay.
think we could do it the same way we did with the 20,000, where after the fact, after the policy has been clarified,
Okay.
then we could easily say, how about if we did 10% of this fundraiser and that fundraiser and allocate it?
Oh, okay.
But we wouldn't in the moment be able to add more.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we have next up unfinished business. We have board positions. We have 3 nominees, and we're still looking for 2 others. For president, we have Renee. Mike Martinez is VP, and then we have Shelby for membership. So we're looking for essentially treasurer and secretary, and if anybody wants to go for any other positions, they're more than welcome to go for positions that are that there's nominees for. New business, we have 2 from Jesse. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
What'd you say?
I'd like to nominate Elena to be treasurer.
Okay, so then we have Elena for treasurer next year. She kind of told me that, but it wasn't like for sure.
May I get your name just for record? Yeah. Okay. Make sure I heard their last name.
Okay, go ahead, Jesse.
Okay. So I have 2 requests, I guess. Yeah, new business requests. The first one is, so we have in our gym, we have 2 speakers that are over on that wall. They are as old as I can remember. I don't know the last time that they were installed. They work okay, but there's only 2 of them, and they're only on that half of the gym. When I first started teaching here, we had 2 speakers that were really even older than that on that side that never worked, and eventually they took them out. They had a shelf and took them out, and that we haven't had anything since then. So if you've been to any of our assemblies, we have a little rock box thing that we pull out and do Bluetooth to that. We have a very, very nice, I think donated by the PTO, wireless mic system that we borrow from the music program. And we kind of hodgepodge our system together because our speakers have to be so loud on one half of the gym to reach the other half of the gym that it blares out the half the kids and the other kids still have trouble hearing what we're saying. So my request is that we get a second set of speakers for the other half of the gym. So I started this process at the beginning of this school year. Yay for long processes. I got an initial quote. It was incredibly expensive. So I kind of dialed it back and asked for a second quote and got another quote. This would be for 2 multi-directional speakers to be installed on the side of the gym over here with a cord that would go up into the attic and then across and plug into our current system. My proposal is the PTO help with about half of the project, and then I, with my budget, finish the project and get the rest of it. So my request is for about $4,000. That would include all the 2 speakers, all the cord and installation, some new wireless mics and the receiver for those, both handheld mics and the kind that you put on and actually have on your head. Because we do every week or every other week we do team time. Thank you, team time for our different grade levels. And Alyssa and Sarah both lead team time, and right now they have one old set system that they have to then unhook and hand to the other person, and it's all wrapped around and tangled. So we'd like to update that system. So my request would be that we split that. That I pay for half of it, you guys pay for half of it. Actually, it'd be about $4,700 for the school to pay, and then about $4,000 for the PTO to donate.
I got to get a first and a second motion to be able to have a discussion. Can I get a first motion, Shelby? Can I get a second, Martinez? Go ahead.
Yeah.
So my question is there any cost savings, since you don't know exactly how old those speakers on the right side are? Any cost savings by just actually getting 4? And so that way the system is all new the same year. And that way down the road, if you have a reserve program set aside, you know you can replace it in the next 15 years, for example.
Yeah.
Versus those going out next year and all of a sudden you got to fundraise for those.
Yeah. The initial request to include those, and it was at about $19,000. So it wasn't a saving. That's why I kind of dialed back. And then they also suggested that I update. Going out of an area that I'm very familiar with. I don't know AV systems very well. So everyone knows the terms, but basically where all the cords plug into, and then where our Bluetooth would go, plug into the receiver.
Yeah.
Receiver, then
Maybe the receiver. They suggest I update the receiver. That was going to be another $8,000. Like, I think we're good with the one we have. And I actually had someone come in and look at it, and he said this one is actually better than what they're suggesting you change to. It's an older one, but it does more of the things that we need. The one thing we would need is a new Bluetooth receiver or Bluetooth thing that would go to the speaker or the mics. That the one we have is very old and it doesn't work very well.
out of curiosity, who'd you get the bid from? The only reason I'm asking that question, we just did a huge AV remodel in Sun River.
Okay. Yeah.
Once again, you're right, it is
I
not
can
cheap.
It is
And
not cheap. Yeah.
I do have some, I can provide some recommendations if you need additional.
Okay.
But
I'm gonna
that
look
seems
it up.
reasonable based on the price point you're referring to as based on what we paid, so.
Okay.
Jesse, so you're doing, ideally, you'd be looking at 4, one in each corner of the space. Is that what I understand?
Just 2 speakers. We have 2 that work fine and they are okay. They're older, but the main problem is not their sound quality. The main problem is that we only have 2 in the half of the gym.
Okay.
So we'd be installing 2 and they'd be mounted multi-directional. So that I picture in my head, I haven't actually seen a picture, is the kind that has like a little speaker facing 4 different ways. Right now we just have a box speaker that's on the wall. So it'd be 4, they'd be mounted on the wall up out of the way. And then the wires would go and connect in with the other 2 so that when we turn on the sound system, then all 4 would go at the same time. That would help with our assemblies, our team time, our music performances, any stuff that we did in the building, and would allow us to just kind of update that system.
Yeah, I was in agreement with Keith. It's just like, my concern would be those 2 older ones blow out or something, and then now we're back to that same scenario. Like, my other thought would be, could we get 2 bigger speakers, have one on each side, and fill the room with equal sound, but just do it across
Yeah, I could certainly find out what that might cost.
Put in, I guess, another request next year, right? If the speakers were to blow to the
Yeah,
general
Yeah,
meeting.
and I would be happy to, it would be less because part of the cost of this request, it includes the wireless mics, the wireless headsets, the Bluetooth receiver for those headsets, which I never knew that anything like that could cost so much. I think it's like $2,500 for the mics. Like, what mics are we getting? We don't need the Taj Mahal, but that's what the decent mics go for.
Yeah.
So,
Commercial AV equipment is so expensive.
it's
I
crazy.
mean, it is outrageous, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, so we'll vote on it. 4,000. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. Okay, motion approved.
I feel like I should leave the room. That's awkward. I'll close my eyes. The second request is for a water fountain filling station. So we have one of those nice things that counts up how many bottles you've saved down in our kindergarten hall. We have one in our gym and we have one in our cafeteria. But the only place that kids can actually and staff can actually use is the one down in the kindergarten hall because the other ones are in a classroom and so far away that we can't have the kids unsupervised going into the cafeteria unless it's lunchtime when an adult is in there supervising. And so the request would be we have a very nice antique at the entrance to the gym, kind of between the gym and the music room. It's an old white porcelain one. I don't think that one's cracked. I think this one might be. But that one is nice and it works, but it's just a water fountain. And so the request, I asked our building engineer what it would cost to update that with a water station. He said it would be around close to $2,000. So my request is to replace that water fountain with a filling station. And again, sharing that cost with the building. And so my request is for about $1,500. And we would pay for the remainder and then install to put a new station in there that then kids can get access to. So we'd have one in that half of the building, one in that half of the building. So the classrooms down here would be able to get water on their way into the gym or just whenever they need it.
Okay, can I get a first and a second motion?
First.
Mike Martinez, thank you. Any questions?
So would the teachers use this? Do they want this? Can you tell me about their opinion?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I haven't surveyed all the teachers, so I didn't send something out to everyone. We have a water station in the staff lounge that the PTO had gotten for us a number of years ago, and then worked diligently for, I'd say, 4 years? How long have we been doing the jugs of water? 5, 6? It's been a while. At different times, I was filling the water jugs. At different times, PTO has been filling the water jugs and taking them in and making that accessible to the teachers. That works for the teachers. It's not available for the students. And unfortunately, in the classrooms, the water fountains are not amazing. So for the staff, that would or could replace the stations that we have that requires the jugs in the staff lounge. I would dedicate funds to getting filters for that so that it's actually filtered water and available for the teachers. The teachers right now go to the one down in the kindergarten hall because that's the only fill station that's really accessible. So yes, there is interest. Whether that is an improvement over the water station, I don't know that the teachers have a preference, but it certainly takes a lot of effort to keep that going, the jugs, and a lot of time and effort, and so that would be able to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one that's out here, the porcelain one is currently.
Yeah.
So you feel confident that the kids can go out there unsupervised and fill?
They
They're out there.
do
Okay, that's why I
already.
wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do already. We have this group of second grade classes. We'll go out and get a drink from there. Some of our first grade classes go down. In kindergarten, they go out and fill up their water bottles in the hallway.
And they already try to fill like their water bottles.
And they do.
That
They
way.
really tip it in.
Yeah, that's hard.
We need to have a video of it. That's what we have to do in class. Yeah.
It'd be funny as something.
It's very fun. And they usually get, this much water.
You mentioned putting a filter in that one. Do the other fill stations have filters in them?
They also, yeah. They have, I don't know how updated they are, but they have the ability.
They're in there?
Yes, yeah, and that would be something that we would.
Yeah.
work on, yeah.
Just two things. You had mentioned the 2,000, but you're requesting how much?
1,500.
1,500. Perfect. And then, may I get your name?
Yes, Keith Caceres.
Thank you. That was all.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, raise your hands. All opposed, raise your hand. Motion
Sorry, I
approved.
wasn't peeking. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate
Motion
it.
approved. Last thing that we have on the agenda for tonight is the funding request for Teacher Appreciation Week. That would be Renee.
Also, Maggie and I have started in, and they're really good, so.
Yes.
Otherwise, we're not even. So for, Teacher Appreciation Week on Thursday, what was our slogan for that day, do you remember?
Not Joe Average Teacher.
Not so average.
Oh, nice.
That makes the whole thing make more sense.
We wanted to do, longboard loons for, lunch. And $9 a person times 47 staff is $423 times 15% gratuity, which is what they add on, which is $63.45. It's a total of $486.45. So we're asking if that would be approved.
Can I get a first and a second motion, please? Shelby first, Kristen second. Is there any questions?
Do they get to pick, like, what they order?
It comes like
It's catered.
in a separate container.
As nacho.
Cool.
Nacho and taco.
Awesome.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor, raise your hands. All opposed, raise your hand. Motion approved. Okay, meeting adjourned, 7:01. Thanks, guys.
Good work.
Do you need volunteers for this weekend for MTP?
That would be amazing if you wanted to help. Mary, I have questions for you too, but we can talk outside of this. But yes, if you're interested, that'd be amazing. Alyssa said like 9:30, and then we'll be there. But obviously you don't have to be there.
That's why I was like, I might as well.
She's like, yep.
Yeah, but I'll just.
Shelby, good to see you.
Yeah, all day.